Yeah, we are back. Like, it's live stream time, it's world building time. We've been doing this a few times now, and I'm hoping that more and more people are building their own worlds, running their own games, doing their own homebrew stuff, and generally making stuff up. Like, that's what this is all about, if you hadn't figured it out. I have a slide presentation for you today. We are obviously going to do some Q&A or questions and answers after my slideshow. If you've been part of this before, the slideshow is something you will have seen before. If you've never been here before or been in part of this, then the slideshow will be new, the information that I provide. We do the Q&A, which we will do back at the webcam with my face, and then we will actually build a world together. That means that you probably want to have some dice close by, and you probably also want to have your imagination spinning as quickly as you possibly can, because I'm going to get you to help me make stuff up. That's sort of how we do things here, is make stuff up. Right, so I'm going to run a poll. Feel free to respond in the poll if you want to. If you're finding you can't respond in the comments section of the live chat, it's because you are not subscribed. You need to be subscribed for at least 20 minutes to be able to respond. Okay, so that's all our preamble done. Let us get into it. We have a lot to cover. Today is a work day, and a work day means we actually have to do something, so we won't waste the time. Where are we? There we go. That's that there. Cool. Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, probably because I always do, but today is a Dungeon Master Preparation Day. This is where we cover Lesson 8, World Building. That's right, we're going to cover the topic of actually world building. And most of the advice I'm going to try to give you is going to be practical, things that you can actually do. The overview and what we will cover are the following: sources of world building, mapping the world, how to go about doing that, naming the world and its continents, world creation stories, choosing your gods and goddesses, selecting them or making them up, developing world locations and your world government, or the different governments in your world, developing your world's magic, its technology, creating races, developing your monster populations, and some miscellaneous recommendations like I always do. Objectives for today are to explain how to build and create a world for a roleplay game or Dungeons and Dragons campaigns. We're going to demonstrate that process, and we're going to practice. That means that you are going to help me do this. I don't want you to just sit back and watch. I want you to take part. D&D Beyond has a combat encounter builder which you can use for free. I would also like to mention that I have a virtual tabletop, a three-dimensional virtual tabletop in production, and when it's available I will make sure that you are aware of it. Other than that, we have some basic things to cover, and that is the sources of world building. Like, where do we get our inspiration from? Where do we get our ideas from when we're building a world? And there are lots of different places you can get it from. I'm going to give you the ones that I use the most, and that I have encountered other people using as well. And the first one would have to be building a world from personal experience. Probably the easiest thing to do is to use your own personal experience rather than just to try and make up a fantasy world out of your head. Okay, a lot of the stuff from the real world you can incorporate into your fantasy or science fiction world. Modifying history, anything you know about history for your fantasy or science fiction worlds as well. History is a good wealth of ideas, and it's always tested, right? So you kind of know it's consistent within the concept. So you can use that as a pool of resources if you wanted to. I use that a lot myself. Stealing from pop culture like Middle Earth, the Land of Oz, or Narnia, all of those perfectly fine. Use ideas from there. And obviously, it's not just your own stuff, but player input. You are playing with other people. So my suggestion to you is, as you play the game, incorporate their backstories. Use the information they provide in their backstories to help build out your world, because they have done some of the work for you, particularly with players who like to write a backstory. as long as it's consistent with your world. And if it isn't, then you get them to change it. But you'll probably find if you give them the opportunity to create a town or a village where they were living, or a city, then they will create that for you, and then you don't have to do that work. You just use somebody else's ideas. And obviously, pulling ideas that players have to incorporate into the world. A lot of players actually like doing this. Not everybody, but certainly many do. Now, we've got to map the world at some point. We've got to draw it. There's got to be some drawing going on, like a physical representation of that world. So drawing the world for a roleplay game or a Dungeons & Dragons campaign can be achieved a few different ways. You can simply scribble on a page of paper with pen or pencil a few wiggly lines or blobs, and that's essentially your continent, and you've got most of your map done. Now it's just a matter of labeling it, right? There are plenty of software packages out there that allow you to actually create those high resolution, very fancy looking maps. You can get detailed landscape maps. You can get random generator maps as well. Things that, if you don't really know what to do with the map drawing process, get the machine to do it for you. You just press a button and away you go, and it creates the whole thing for you. There are plenty of tools out there that do that sort of thing. So there's a couple of different ways that you can go about doing it. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about specific software packages you can use, because usually what I do is I show people software packages and we use them in the classes that I run. So that is our mapping process. And I still think the easiest way to get going is just to grab pen and pencil and just do it that way. It doesn't have to look great. Remember, it's for your game. You're not publishing this thing. Naming the world. The next step. What is the name of your world? What are the names of your continents in that world? In fact, do the worlds and continents need to have a name? Like, you don't necessarily have to establish that straight away, or do they even have to have a name at all? Maybe it's just the unknown. You have, in fact, been exposed to so many different world names and continent names from history and pop culture that if you can't come up with some ideas, I would be surprised. You can also ask your players to name the worlds that you're creating. Remember, the creation process does not have to be ultimately in the hands of the Dungeon Master. You can hand some of that over the players. Players like this. Not all players, but many players do actually enjoy the idea of being part of the creation process. The same world that you have created may have many different names across different civilizations on your world. So when you have more than one idea or more than one name, you can use all of them or none of them. Or one of the names is predominantly used and the other names are just variations that are used within the societies on your world. So it's really helpful when you have a list of names. There are also world name generators. They're also very helpful for generating a location name for you, and you can pump that in and it spits it out. But I would recommend use what you know, because you know plenty, and your players can do this as well. And if you're really desperate, then yes, fall back on the computers and let them do some of the work as well. The world creation story. Not everybody creates this. You don't have to. I think this is just a nice way of bringing in some mythology into your world. Since you're already creating a fantasy world to start off with, it's kind of nice to build on the concept that there's already a mythology and legend behind your world in the first place. Because a lot of worlds have this. It's instrumental in our own world. Planet Earth, mythology and legend is very, very important. So if you have some sort of story around that, it's kind of helpful. What is the world's creation story? And I've got a list of different basic concepts that you can use, and then you can decide which one you like, and you just build out from there. So no one really knows what their creation story is. There are just theories, there are mythology, there's legend, and frankly, anyone can make up a creation story, not just the Dungeon Master. So by all means, let all the players have a different version of the creation story. They don't have to be true, they just need to have a creation story. And if you have some ideas yourself, Dungeon Master, that's great, because within any world, usually there's more than one creation story, just because civilizations see the world differently, correct? The ones that I'm going to offer, there are a few. I've created a list for you. The world is created by a supreme being. Very obvious in our own society. God is often, or Buddha, things like that, are considered the supreme being, and they created everything. The world emerged over a long period of time, and a metamorphosis has occurred, and then you have the world as it is today. This is sort of evolution, but you can take it to another level when you're dealing with fantasy if you wanted to. One of the other things that I see a lot, and you probably already aware of, and that is two primal super beings. These usually represents the mother and the father, and they get together and they birth the world that we have today. And you can use the same sort of concept in your own games if you wanted to. The world hatching from a cosmic egg laid by a deity of some kind is another way of forming the world if you wanted to. Two companion gods, usually represented by good and evil, and they have some sort of relationship. It may be at loggerheads, it may not, but usually there is some sort of conflict taking place, and out of that conflict, one of these gods dives into a water source, pulling forth the world into existence. Often this is done by the evil god or deity, but it could be the good god if you wanted to as well. The last one I'm going to suggest, and that is gods transforming the corpse of a dead giant into a world, or gods transforming the corpse of a dead god into a world. Some sort of transformation is taking place from an entity or the leftovers of something that has perished. And it's not just any kind of being or entity, it's a mighty being or entity, and that actually their corpse or body is what is used as the materials for creating the world as we know it. So those are your creation stories. You just need to pick one of those and build on it, make some adjustments, and you're ready to go. You've got your creation story. Now, with all creation stories, we also need to have some gods and goddesses, some deities. Like, what are they going to be? Who are the gods of your world? I'm going to suggest to you that ask your player characters who they worship. They can create their own gods up. They could use existing gods from other societies or from Dungeons and Dragons lore. It doesn't matter. Let the player characters decide who some of these deities are. You know tons of gods and goddesses from history, mythology, and folklore that you can select. You can just pull them straight into your game and make them part of it. You don't even have to make any changes, because there isn't copyright on this stuff. You know what I mean? Okay, it will be all right, and it's for your table, so it won't matter. Stealing from fantasy, science fiction, as I said, Dungeons and Dragons lore. I would suggest just pick a couple. Like, I would pick maybe 5. Start off with 5 or 6, and that's it. The rest you can fill in over time. You don't have to reveal every single god all at once, because frankly, it's lost on the players. The reason I say 5 or 6 is essentially because you usually have between 4 or 5 characters, and 4 or 5 characters might have a different god within your group, and so if you have 5, you kind of covered all your bases. When you take the name of a god or goddess and how they sort of operate and what they are a god or goddess of and all that sort of stuff, what their symbols represent, try reversing the names if you want to change them up a bit and you don't want them to be completely a rip-off. Or you can slightly adjust their details. Now, I would recommend that the Dungeon Master Guide for Dungeons & Dragons 5e is not your best source of information for this. It's actually the Player's Handbook for Dungeons & Dragons 5e, because it has a huge list of different deities that you can utilize from Dungeons & Dragons worlds and from real world mythology and legend. And that is on page 293 through to 299. We are definitely going to be using this as a resource, people. It's a very, very extensive resource, and I would highly recommend you engaging in it if you can. Okay, we have to deal with some locations as well. We need some places they can go and explore. So world locations. How do we deal with that? That's a lot. That's a big ask, right? What locations and settlements and cities does the world have? And in fact, do you have settlements like villages and towns and cities in your world? It may be too wild that there's none of that exists at all. There's many places around the real world that you have actually seen or heard of, and you can poach and adjust them for your gaming group. And the world that you're creating. So I would suggest using a lot of what you've already experienced in the real world or seen on TV or YouTube or anywhere, in pictures. The Dungeon Master Guide for Dungeons & Dragons 5e offers a wealth of ideas for locations. I'm going to refer you to a couple of pages, and that is page 99, 109, pages 112 to 114, page 292 to 295 of the Dungeon Master Guide. You're going to find a lot of information there that you're going to find super useful, and I suggest you go and pick and pluck what you can from there if you can. What is the starting location of your world? Probably one of the most important locations. And if you don't have a starting location, that's probably going to make it difficult for you. So how do you get around that? Well, there's a way of getting around this. Where did the player characters come from? When they did their backstory, there's probably a village or a town included in their backstory. And if you allow them to actually create the name of the town or village or the place they came from, that can be your starting location. Another trick that you may not be aware of, and that is, what about using your own personal hometown or city? What you do is you know quite a lot about your own hometown or city or village or wherever you come from. And you take that concept and you modify it a bit, and then that is your new homebrew fantasy or science fiction starting point. Very simple, very easy. It won't put you out. You won't be stuck looking at a blank page forever. World government. World governments are like, we can't get away from them. So we're going to include them in our games as well. So world government's big part to play here. Who or what are the government and power in the world that you have created? There might be many. There might be just one. There might be just 5. I mean, it's up to you, really, how many you decide they're going to be. I'm going to suggest to you that you deal with government every day of your life. So that means it shouldn't be hard for you to figure out that sort of stuff. If you don't know about different types of civilizations, you probably have been living under a rock. And let's get real, it doesn't matter if you aren't completely aware of different government types, because I'm going to tell you anyway. Okay, so if you go to the Dungeon Master Guide for Dungeons & Dragons 5e, you'll find on page 18 to 19, there's a lot of information. You'll find a lot of these different governments that they talk about are actually repeats. They are very similar in nature. The ones that I think sort of stick out and are your stock standard governments that you might include, and that is the monarchy, which is ruled by a single sovereign leader, a king or a queen, who is limited by the law and serves the citizens and the people of that land. And you know what that looks like, so that's not too hard. A democracy. Most of you are probably aware of a democracy. This is ruled by an elected representative or representatives that the citizens actually vote for. So you're fairly familiar with that one. The oligarchy is a government formed by a few persons or families that controls everything. And then the authoritarianism, that's your dictatorship, basically. It's opposed to individual freedom of thought and action by a central leader. And there's usually one leader that controls everything. And our theocracy, this is ruled by priests, a church or churches, temples, or some sort of agents of a deity or god or goddess. And so that's your basics in terms of the different types of governments that exist. You pick one of those and you expand it, you give it a name, and you're ready to go. You've got your government sorted out. Now remember, you're only starting off in one location, so you don't have to actually form every single government in around the entire world. You probably only need to start off with one. That would probably be enough to start with. As your players explore the world, they're going to meet people. They're going to meet creatures. They're going to meet different species and races. And what are the races in your world? Player characters haven't encountered all the races yet because they haven't been everywhere. So you do not need to create all of them. Pick a few you know from fantasy fiction and add the rest later. Like all things, you do not need to have 30 or 35 different races that are available to be played by your player characters, okay, and all figured out in your world. It is perfectly fine to only select between 5 and 6 and then have them explore the place and meet more of them. Modifying, what you can do is you can modify real world animals and create your own fantasy races from them. It's actually pretty easy to do. So consider that as an option. That means that pretty much every single animal in the world, the real world, is now potentially a different fantasy race. Selecting a handful of races from the player's handbook. Like, this is one of the things that I think is probably the easiest thing for you to do, is just pick up the player's handbook for Dungeons and Dragons 5e, or whatever player handbook you're using for whatever game system you're using, whether it be Pathfinder or something else, and you just select 5, maybe 6, but about 5 is fine. You'll find in the player's handbook pages 18 to 43 of 5 for 5e, that's where all the races are in that book, and you could just use that. Now, we're dealing usually with a fantasy world. You may have a science fiction world, but if you're dealing with a fantasy world, we have to ask the question. We've got to ask that question about magic. What are we going to do with magic? Well, does your world actually have magic? How does it work? Really, this question kind of cracks me up a little bit, and I say this many, many times, and that is because when we say magic, magic is obviously, by the very name and nature of it, mysterious and amazing. So that's all we need to have. You don't actually have to have an awful lot connected to how magic works in your world. It can be just mysterious and amazing, and nobody really understands how it exists and why it exists. It's just there. But you can refer to page 23 and 24 of the Dungeon Master Guide for Dungeons & Dragons 5e, and you'll find a little bit of information about how magic works. It usually talks more about high and low magic worlds. You definitely need to answer the question of whether your world actually has magic shops, because your players are going to ask about that. You don't have to decide that straight away, but I suspect you probably need to have that prepared and decided in your head fairly quickly. And if you do have magic shops, how do they look? Like, what can they get from them? I think this is probably the one thing that players focus on way too much, and unfortunately for you, you're probably going to have to make sure that you have decided whether you have that. Is magic connected to technology, or is technology and magic separate? Sometimes you have a world like Eberron where they connect technology and magic together. Can the dead be brought back to life in your world by magic? Is that possible? Or when people die and they pass on to the other world, is that the end of their journey? And are they taking on a new journey in a different world? Or do they just cease to exist anymore? Like, answering that question about whether you can bring back the dead is actually pretty important, because it's a primary aspect. There are so many different spells in Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder that bring you back to life, so you need to answer that question. Is transportation achieved by teleportation? Is there teleportation in your world? Or is that not an option? Do you have to walk everywhere, use horses, or some other means? Are there schools of magic, and what are those schools of magic? Are you going to just use the schools of magic provided by Wizards of the Coast, or are you going to create your own? Or are you going to decide, what I'm going to do is keep it nice and simple, and I'm just going to have Divine, Arcane, and Primal? Or are we going to make our sources, or our schools of magic, just elemental in nature? Fire, air, water, earth. That's it. What are the restrictions to magic in your world? Are there any restrictions at all to the magic used in the world? There may be, but there might not be either. So now that we've answered the question of magic, that leads us off onto the next topic, which is world technology. Yes, you probably know quite a bit about technology. So what technology does the world have? And this is where you need to realize that you can answer this question pretty quickly. You actually have been exposed, people, to a lot of technology. You've seen different types of technology through life experience. You've used it. You have gone to school. You work with it right now. So you are aware of the different types of technology that exist. So this should not be hard for you to answer. But what I've done is I've taken different types of technology, broken it down, and these are sort of your basic forms of technology that we know of at this current time. So these are the ones you're probably going to use. Windmills, so wind power. This is usually a mechanical movement generated by wind that transforms into energy that powers something or a mechanism. Steam-powered engines, or Furnaces, something like that. Steam power is just about pressure. You build up pressure as the steam builds up in a tank, and then you release it, and that powers something, pushes mechanisms around. Burning fossil fuels to power a machine of some kind. We do this with petroleum products and oil, but you could burn anything. You could burn coal, you could burn wood. There might be other things that you burn. So fossil fuels, you may simply burn just the skeletal remains of creatures because there's so many of them available. So different ways of using fossil fuels. What about solar power? Captured by the sun, and you use that to power the equipment and the technology in your world. Or what about electrical energy generated by that's stored up? Now you may be able to generate that energy through running water through a water wheel or a dam of some kind, but there are lots of different ways you can generate electricity. So you need to decide, like, if there is a way of generating electricity, what will that look like? And then let's go into, I guess, the topic of storing radiation, because you're using atomic energy at a very microscopic level. The very particles that make up the universe and the world itself are exploited through fusion and fission of some kind. Maybe you're utilizing cold fission and fusion of some kind. You decide what that's going to be. It's a fantasy world. You can do whatever you like with it. Technology is a big factor, but ultimately, when it comes to certainly playing Dungeons and Dragons and even being involved in any kind of science fiction, monsters are a big factor. Like this is where we really need to sort of knuckle right down. I've saved the best for last. What are the monsters in your world? And frankly, it doesn't matter what they are. You just need to decide what you like and what your players will like. Everyone will find out during the campaign as you play what monsters are in this world. So you don't have to develop all of them all at once, including the Dungeon Master. So as a Dungeon Master, it's good to have just sort of a rough idea of the population of different types of creatures or monsters and wherever you're going to be going, and then you can build onto that over time. You don't have to include every single monster. You may find that they never come across a boulet, which is often called a boulette. What I would say to you is start small, think of the things that you really want, and if you can, try to include stuff that your players like the idea of having in the adventure as well, or the world that you're going to explore. Select creatures from any of the monster books. So, it doesn't matter, frankly, whether it's third-party, Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder. Select the monsters that you would like to include in your world. Take inspiration from monster movies. Movies about monsters, you can use that to populate your world as well. There's plenty of them out there. Books on fiction have lots and lots of different monsters and novels that will help sort of fuel your imagination. And allow you to actually do some sort of monster creation. You can steal a lot of ideas. You don't have to change it. It doesn't have to be homebrew. It doesn't have to be original. You may not find that you can do original because kind of everything has been done. So steal away. It's not an issue. I would suggest drawing from real-world biology, particularly archaeology. There is a lot of evidence to suggest there's some very strange creatures and beasts that essentially are very monstrous. They create great ideas for monster concepts that you can port over. The dinosaur is one example, but there are many more. And certainly if you look at more extreme information on archaeology, you'll find a lot of the stuff that has been tucked away in cupboards and is not deemed to be mainstream archaeology will give you some of the best ideas for monsters to include in your world if you want them. Miscellaneous recommendations. I always give miscellaneous recommendations when I'm doing this sort of thing, primarily because I want to make sure that you don't feel like you are stuck. First thing I want to say, just make some sort of world quickly. Like literally, just grab a piece of paper, get a pen, draw some squiggly lines, draw some continents very quickly, and just get started. Like it takes you 30 seconds. You're ready to go now. I know that seems like, oh, that's not enough, Fred. That's all right. We will today and in the future show you how to make the stuff you need. What is the plot of the campaign? I know a lot of people go straight to plot. Stop there. Plot is about adventure, not campaign or world building. What you want to do is start with the world building. The world building is not about the plot, so leave the plot alone. Okay, that's a rabbit hole that you go down some other day. Focus on the actual world building concept first. Plot is hard to deal with. You're not actually trying to create a novel or a movie. What you'll find, and probably one of the best ways to deal with plot, is to allow plot, when you do get to it, to unfold as the players play the game. But again, we will cover creating stories and adventures at a later point. What I also want to point out is that no one knows the truth about anything because of the passage of time and bias. So you don't have to have definitives in your world. You know, a lot of this stuff might be speculation. That's fine. There'll be bias because different civilizations will have a different view of the world. So you can have conflicting views of what actually happened in your world if you wanted to. That does make it very difficult, but that's actually what happens in the real world, so you can certainly duplicate that in your own game. But what that also means is because you don't know everything is in fact the truth, it means that you don't need to know everything as a dungeon master about your world, because you can make it up on the fly and you can change it if you don't like it, because what was presented before was the view of somebody who was incredibly biased, or the passage of time, the information passed down was actually incorrect. So one of the easiest ways to get around, I did something to my world that I don't like, but I want to change it, but now I can't. Yes, you can, because of the passage of time and because civilizations and other beings in your world were biased and did not actually present the real view of the world. So it's actually an easy fix. The other thing I want to say is I don't want you to be hard on yourself about how you create your world, how good it is. You're not publishing this thing. It's for you and your players. So, don't expect it to be some sort of publishable world. That's not what you're trying to do. You're just trying to create something that's your own rather than somebody else's. And it can be done in a very short space of time. Now, I'm hoping that this was useful to you and you found something out of that will get you creating your own world, because this is all about getting you to make your own worlds, not to just stick around and buy somebody else's stuff because you think it's going to take me months or years to do this. No, it can be done in a very short space of time. Okay, literally 30 seconds and you're ready to go, and you make it up as you go, or you sit down with me and we spend about an hour and a half, and we make your world, at least the bare bones of it. Now, if you have any comments, any questions, please put them into the comments section. Any feedback you would like to give. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Okay, just give me a second. I'm just getting my bearings, and we'll come back to the webcam, and I will start. We will start doing this. I just need to. What's going on here? Is it my eyes that are the problem, or is it something else? Okay. All right. Yeah. It's just because I'm looking at the screen with the old eyes rather than new eyes. that are starting to get a bit worn out, apparently. Okay, let's go to chat, and then we will get into the process of making some stuff. I hope all of you have got your dice ready. I hope all of you have got some ideas, because we've got a lot of work to do. Right. So let's have a quick look here at the... so we've got 17 people who have answered the poll. Have you created your own homebrew world for Dungeons and Dragons? In fact, any roleplay game, it really doesn't matter. Yes, 35%. Well, that's good. So about a third of you. No, 35%. Good. So those of you, you're going to build a world with us today, okay? So that you feel like if you can do it with us today, you can do it on your own. You don't have to use the world that we're going to create. You can make your own thing, and you're going to be able to do it very, very quickly, okay? So you just get started. None of this. We don't want you to wait too long, okay? You may never get it done. You might die before you ever get a chance to run your own campaign world. Like, we want to get it done. Not finished, 22%. We've got to solve that problem today as well. Just watching, 11%. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at who we have here today. Blood King Bro. I don't know what... Hello. I don't know what you said there, but How you doing? Big Kid, hello, Big Kid. Big Kid is a Patreon patron, supports me on Patreon. This is the best way to support this program continuing. So world building, Dungeon Master preparation is designed to be an ongoing program that is run between once a month to once every 2 months. And so it's just an ongoing process, and we just come back and we do another one. This is how I do it. I make a different world every time I start a new homebrew campaign, and that's just how I work. So how's it going, Big Kid? So best way to support me is on Patreon. $1 a month is the most. At least you don't have to pay any more than that. You can pay more if you want. You get everything that we do here goes up onto Patreon. Otherwise, super chats and super stickers are appreciated, but I still feel like Patreon is your best bet because you get more. You support these programs that I run. I run 5 of them a week, and you not only do you get all of that and support it going on live, you also ensure that you get all the material that we create as well. Okay. So let's. I think I lost Big Kid's message now. I can't go up. Sorry, Big Kid. Nacho Man, also a patron. How are you doing? My approach with world building was going to be start with a mysterious island. Yes, that's good. Yes, and then you drawing out the shape of the island. Super easy. Pencil, piece of paper, and you're done in 30 seconds. Right. Have the players be shipwrecked on the island, and then build the world outwards from there as they explore the island. Yes, absolutely. I think that's exactly what you should consider doing. You're stealing from Lost. Yeah, but that's what everybody does. It's all right. You're allowed to. You don't need to feel guilty at all. That's how it is done. Hello, William. How are you doing? I'm Fred the Barbarian from Helen's Village. Yeah, so William knows where I live. William's from New Zealand, so we do actually know each other. We have played Dungeons & Dragons together. How's it going, William? It's going to be interesting having you here today. I know, it always is. Big Clue, hello, how are you doing? This is D&D. There's room for some fantastical ideas like democracy. Laugh out loud, absolutely. We certainly want some dictators because dictators are good for story. Like, if you want an adventure, having a dictatorship is awesome because somebody gets to dethrone them. You get the players now have a target. Not just kill the monsters and take their stuff. They can change the actual government structure and how the citizens and civilization works. So having a bad government that they can beat the crap out of is always nice. Spirit Wolf, hello Spirit Wolf, welcome back. What do you got here? Yeah. So yeah. A lot of people get focused too much on plot, and you will find you don't need to do that, not with world building. David Ross, hello, how are you, David Ross? Welcome back. And Ray Smith, hello, Ray Smith. I think this is the first time I've seen you in the comments section. I am hoping that you are going to enjoy yourself. We're about to get started because I'm almost at the bottom of the chat. And hello, Nick, how are you doing as well? And we've got Agile Monk. Agile Monk is also a patron. And supports me on Patreon quite extensively as it happens, and we've actually chatted quite a lot on Discord. So for those of you who don't know, I have a Discord where people can come and talk to me in person using voice chat and video chat when I'm available. I haven't been available a lot recently because I've been super busy, but that's because I've been putting all this stuff together. And he's also a moderator because I've made him a moderator. Okay, so I think that has got us done. Let me just put a lozenge in my mouth, settle myself down a bit, because we are about to take a journey, and our journey is simply to create a world in the time we have. We have an hour and 20 minutes, or maybe a little bit less than that, to get it done. Okay, and I think. Yep. Well, this live stream is set to subscribers only. Okay. So if you aren't subscribed and you're here, you need to be subscribed for 20 minutes to be able to comment, which is it's just to keep the bots away. Otherwise, we get spammed to death, And none of us enjoy that process, and it takes away from the time we have set aside to actually do this sort of thing. So let me just get my template ready to go. Go over to, where is my space here? Where's my workspace? Windows. Oh, my eyes are bad today. Now it's not coming up. Why is it not coming up? Properties. Go to here. That seems to be, oh, that's worked. We're in business. Okay, good. So we can transition over fairly easily. I just need to make sure I got my phone. Should be working on the right. Okay, all right. The first question I'm going to be asking is come up with a world name, but while I'm trying to get my phone to come up with a chat and do it efficiently and properly, which is struggling to do right now. I'm not sure why. I think it's probably because it's using the wrong network. Let me just change the network. Come on, baby. No, that's not going to work. Wrong part of the house. Okay. That should be the right one. That should be the strong connection. Is it going to? Is it going to come up? Is it going to update? Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. Homework. We're on it now. This is what we've got. This is my template. This is our starting point, people. And with the starting point that we have for today, I'm going to go over here. Our first task is to come up with a name. So, hashtag. For those of you who don't know how this works, usually what I do is I do a little hashtag in the comment section. Create a world name. It could be, it doesn't have to be the world, it might be just the name of the continent. And that is what I'm wanting you to do now, is to come up with some ideas for a continent name. And we will include them. Mungo. Cool. We're already on the road, people. So let's bold, underline, take the italic off. And we will go Mungo. Mungo. Oh. Thank you, Spirit Wolf, for the first suggestion. It sounds like Flash Gordon, baby. That isn't Mungo Flash Gordon. I'm pretty sure it is. We have to include Pandora, since I was cheeky enough to stick that thumbnail up. Pandora. For those of you who remember the Avatar movie, Pandora was the forest world that was included. So yeah, that's right. Got to have that one. Got to include it. The gourd. How about we just call it gourd? Mungo was from Blazing Saddles. Oh, Mongo. He's got Mungo though. Mongo might Blazing Saddles. Yeah, could be. Yep. No, I believe you. Yeah, that's the guy who used to ride around on the oxen and was a bit of an idiot, but like tough as nuts. Okay, so while you guys are coming up with world names, which I'm hoping you're going to come up with some more, because I don't want to do all the work here. There's 15 of you here. Like, what? Hello, how are you doing, Fender? Fender is also a patron. Supports me on Patreon, has been for a while, and he's also a moderator, which he was surprised to find out yesterday. Black Fang. Let's do the Black Fang. I like that. It's a good idea. So when we get between 5 and 10 names, we'll stop. Black Fang. Two together. Put the names together. Black Fang. Yep, we can do that one. So Spirit Wolf, Nacha Man's got Black Fang. Spirit Wolf has got Archo. Remember, you can use the back of the player's handbook as a guide. There are lots of names there, and what you can do is you can reverse them. You can modify them in some way. Silver Mountain Dio. Okay, let's go Dio. Dio is nice and simple. I'll just put Silver Mountain. I feel like Silver Mountain should be a location. So if that was not your intention, I understand, but I feel like Silver Mountain is a location in the world, as far as I'm in my head. That's where it goes. Hello, Seeker. Welcome back, Seeker. Seeker supports the channel in a way that he wants nobody else to know about, and I do thank you again. We will add your world name, which is Utobe. Is it Yortobe? Yortobe. If I pronounced it wrong, just put it down to the fact that I'm a Kiwi. What do you got here, Agile Monk? Played by Alex Kuris, the American football player. Oh, I don't know. So he played Mongo from Blazing Saddles. Now, where were we? We were trying to put somebody's idea in a different location. Silver Mountain is a location. I want to put it over here. We haven't finished with worlds, people, so feel free to keep going with those. Your idea does not have to be good, people. It just not super silly. Okay. I mean, I've even put the silly stuff in as well. YouTube, it's not happening. It's not happening, but Spirit Wolf's idea, I will put in. I'm not putting a YouTube in there. And you know why. Yippers, all right. And you want a version of Mungo being Mongo. Fine, we can do that. Yeah, see you did. Now, well, I've added it now. Now we've got Mongo, Mungo. Like, now we've got to put them beside each other. Because what's going to happen is people are going to think, what's going on? I thought that was there already. As the patrons go through the document, if you actually do. If you are a patron and you're not checking out the documentation that's going up there, you should. Okay. Relgor. Fendar's Relgor's on the list. Okay, I think we have done with worlds. What I'd like to be able to do, since you guys seem to be on a location name bender right now, doing really well. Let's skip past some of the other stuff and go straight to locations, settlements, and cities. So that would be, let's create the name of, now when you think about a location, you want to make it fantastical, so give it a cool name. It could be a town, a village, a city, a landmark, a place, it doesn't matter. We'll do them next, eh? Archeron. David Ross's suggestion is going in. Oh gosh, man. You want to call it look, am I adding 3 different versions? We've got Mungo, Mango. Oh, good Lord. Are you ready? Are we? I feel like we're going down this happened to us last time. You guys got out of control. Sounds yummy. And the Sea of Blood. The Sea of Blood. Now, the Sea of Blood sounds very much like it's from Fighting Fantasy. Or the Blood Sea. Blood Sea, sorry. Blood Sea. Got to have a Blood Sea in any world. Razor Sea. Yeah, you could have Razor Sea as well. Let me just go type here. Now, if we're creating locations, hashtag, create location. If it's a town, village, or city, you need to tell me it's a town, village, or city. If it's just a place, try to have at least 2 words. So we got something, so Blood Sea. We know it's a sea and we know that it's got blood involved, right? We had a location. And I will do my best to try to keep up with all of these. Agile Monk, what do you got here? Tarcher. So you can see, look, some of these names you'll like, some of them you'll hate. But look, it wasn't that hard. You've got the community working for you, people. The Camel Hills. Ooh, Spirit Wolf, I like that one. That's nice. I like it. Let's have a look. Read point 8 again. Okay, so Spirit Wolf had another name here. This is a very long name. On go beyond go. On go beyond go. I didn't read it clearly. I just typed it out and now I've just realized what you've done. God. Should have guessed. On go beyond go. You guys are shockers sometimes. You really are. I know you have a lot of fun. I know you're having a lot of fun, but for me, I'm like, oh, writing this looks like a good idea, and then oh, no, I see, it's a joke. Here we go. Razor C. Razor C sounds interesting. Spirit Wolf's suggestion is in. Hill, with each variant of the hill being in a different language, like Lotsterberg Tor. Well, I put down that, but I don't know what I'm going to. I'm not writing hill, William. That's not going to happen. So, but I'll put this. Is this a real place? I feel like it probably is. William is a connoisseur of history, so it probably is. Tor. There we go. Tor is a hill. Bracket. For those of you who didn't realize, I didn't realize either. Tor means hill. Camel. Hills. Remember, we need to have a starting location, so we need to have at least one village or town or a city. But by all means, you can give me. We got a town or a city. So, Sunset Rise. Seeker's Sunset Rise is now rising up. Let's get this over here. Sunset Rise. Yes. If you have more information about your location, that's great, but it doesn't have to be any more than just a name. People, it can be just a name. It's fine. City West Millington. David Ross, your suggestion is going in. I thank you for giving us at least a settlement. Bracket city. We'll just go here. City, that'll do. The Dragon's Grave. You've got to have a Dragon's Grave. The Dragon's Grave. Which will become your grave too. Dragon's Graveyard. Sounds like a place where dragons go to die. You're craving candy. I'm not. It's just a Strepsil, dude, because my throat's gonna kill me. Location ideas. Okay. Monastery. Run by Modron monks. Oh my gosh. Did I type? Yeah. So we. Okay. Clockwork Monastery. Clockwork Monastery. Is that what it's called? I don't know. You tell me. Run by Modron monks. That's quite cool. I like that idea. I haven't seen that idea come out before. Radius, the tourist city. No clue what's in the middle. Thank you for your suggestion, Charles. Charles Butler. Yeah, let's do that. Taurus City. Good. Well, we're up to 11, so we've just about sorted out our locations. Fendar's suggestion is the Blue Horned Peaks. Oh, nice. Ooh, Blue Horned Horned Peaks. It's a mountain range, right? Good. All right, so I need to move us on to a different thing. And before you guys get out of control, let's deal with some races. Let's take it on a different shift completely, people. Let's start dealing with some races. So I'm going to start setting up for the races, and then I'll come back and catch up on what I've missed with everybody else's ideas. So hashtag Spirit City. Good one. Okay. Hashtag create races. We only really need 5, so once we get to 5 I should stop, okay? But all these location ideas that you have written down, people, are not lost. They are not wasted, because I will just plug them in while you are putting down races, okay? Now, Blue Horn Peaks, got that one. Guild Crossroads, yes, thank you for that, Spirit Wolf. Guild Crossroads. Guild Crossroads, Spider Bile Forest. Seeker, I like that. Spider Bile Forest. Nice. I suspect there's spiders in there. Next, Town of Winterforge. Charles, I'm liking your ideas. They're good. Winterforge. Good suggestions. Winter. I'm gonna separate that to Winterforge, and then we'll go here. I know that wasn't your intention, but it's just to give me, just to help me sort of put it together in a document. People can always change it if they don't like the way I've done it. 5 minutes till the top of the hour. Oh, good Lord, we've been working. We've got a lot done. The Screaming Vale, like the Idea Seeker. Nice job there. Screaming Vale. But this is always the case when we're doing this sort of stuff, right? Is that we wind up, that dropped down to the next page. Spirit City. Spirit City, I'll just call it that. Brownie. Okay, now we're talking brownies. Brownies as in the creatures rather than the biscuits, right? Spirit Wolf. It is a brownie. I love a little tasty little brownie. Here we go. Num 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 num. There's my little brownie. Let's just drop that down a little bit more. Sorry, people. I am. David Ross, you said a human. I suppose we could put humans in there. You know how I feel about humans. we need less of them. Keybold. What else you got here? Hello, Matt Walker. Welcome back, Matt Walker. This is our world building day. This is where we go nuts. David Ross, you got human in there. Drider. Oh, a whole race where they're just Driders. That is terrifying in so many respects. Spirit Wolf, Dracon. Yes, absolutely. Dracon. What's the name of the race in Avatar? What are they called? Those tall blue. They used to call. They basically said big blue monkeys, right? But they're not really monkeys. The main characters in there, they're the big blue fellas. I can't remember. Ant folk from the Underdark. Charles, I like the idea. Ant folk. There is another race that's called, starts with F, but we'll just go ant folk for now. Um, an antinoid? Could we go with an antinoid? You tell me, Charles, if antinoid seems like to. You let me know. Antinoid. Antinoid. Smurfs. Don't say Smurfs. No Smurfs, please. I don't like Smurfs. I know I grew up with them, but I don't like Smurfs. I don't want to add Smurfs. I don't want to put it in there. Antinoid. Gosh. Antinoid? Is that how it's done? No, right. Okay, cool. Thank you. I got it. That's the one. Antinoid. I don't know. That's maybe just a bit too much. Antinoid. We'll put these guys in here. The Nev and it's that, and then it's a VI and is double thingy. Oh, yes, Spirit Wolf. That's the one. Yeah. The Formium. God, blimey, I can't remember exactly what it is. I'll just put it in anyway. Formium. Yes, thank you, Spirit Wolf. We've got that one down. Yeah, Antinoid. I like your thoughts. I'm glad you do. It kind of gives you exactly what you think it is, like an ant folk, whereas the other name, which I know has been used in the past, doesn't quite communicate what we're dealing with, right? But Antinoid, the spelling, I feel like we're on the right track there. Critters. Well, yes, we call them critters. Critters. Centaur. Why not? Centaur. Okay. All right. So we're going to get out of hand here, and we're going to need one up with way too much stuff. Seeker, do not feel like you've been slammed. Your ideas are fine, but I just don't want to put Smurfs in. I just don't want to include Smurfs. Like gods. Let's move on. Hashtag gods, and then I'll add in these other things. You need a flying species. You can have a flying species. I don't care. Sam 3D. How's it going, Sam 3D? How are you? Okay, so hashtag create a god or goddess name and what they reign. I guess rain, but they represent. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're going on a different tangent. Good. I'm glad it was a joke. Blue creatures. Yeah, that was my mistake saying blue creatures, wasn't it? I need to add in Sam 3D's idea here. Oh gosh, got an S here. S. Saurian turtles. Sweet. And that's just the beginning. But we're not going to keep going with that because I am going to go and take a break. Otherwise, I will have an accident. We don't need that. And while you guys come up with your ideas, by the time I get back, you will have probably filled in all of that. And we have only been working for about 25 minutes. 25 minutes, and we have a lot of what we needed in the first place. So I'm going to just click us over to Arnold. And while you are working, I will be back. I'll take my break. You think and write, and I will note it down. I'll be back. Ugh. Holy shit, people. 1, 2, 3. Uh, 4, 5, 6. Geez, you've already got 6 at least there in the chat in terms of gods. That was quick, people. You guys are a good team, I have to say. Work really well together. Man, and it keeps going. All right, so let's get me back to my workstation. And transitioning over. Okay, all right. Let's continue along this. So I got all of the different races, I'm pretty sure. And we're now into gods, which we need to just go up. By the time I start organizing myself to type in your gods and goddesses, you will probably be ready to move on to the next thing. This happened to me last time, if I remember right. You work so quickly. Gods and goddesses. We need to drop it down a little bit more, I think. We'll underline, take the italic off. Okay. All right, well, let me get started on at least writing a couple of these in, and then I think I might have to set you guys a different task because you guys are ready to move on already. So, sloth. Goddess of time. Spirit wolf, nice one. And you named it off after a slow-moving animal that's constantly being poisoned. Christopher Bonanzo. Love the surname. Hello, Christopher. How are you? For a god. Okay. So the god name. What I want you to do is also I want you to decide what this god is of. Like what do they represent? You know, what are they connected to? So I'll write down the name of the god. And no, I got it wrong. I got to spell it right, don't I? Antenor. I don't know what the god is of yet, so you need to write in that name and then tell me what it is of. Does that make sense? Okay. Charles, what have you got here? Sifram. Oh, I can't pronounce that. I'm going to have a lot of trouble with this. This is going to be interesting. So, is it a god? Is it a goddess? Is it what are they a god or goddess of? Is it non-binary? I mean, you know, I need a little bit more information on that one, Charles. When we say world, do we mean a planet? Well, you can, but it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, we can. I mean, the planet could be a giant dice, or it could be a huge orange, or I mean, it could be the skull of a dead being. I mean, you know, it's a world. Well, Jean, I think you're kind of going in a direction where I don't know what to deal with right now. All I'm trying to deal with is gods and goddesses right now. Okay. Okay. So I suspect that if I type in these names here, Morgadon. Sounds very similar to god of battles and conflict. That's David Ross's idea. Yep. Fendar, what do you got here? Upholder of the laws and traditions. Sheesh. All right, we have a lot of names here already. So I'm going to put us on a different route before we get out of control here. Okay, so you are going to come up with a creation story. Do you remember the 5 creation stories that I talked about before? So hashtag make a creation story. Please try to keep it to 1 or 2 sentences, nothing too crazy. While I write down all the gods, you come up with creation stories. That'll slow you down because that'll be a lot harder. Creation stories are coming up next. Okay? Plenty of options there, creation stories. Heaps and heaps. The crazier, the better. Remember, it's fantasy. That's what people signed up for. So Fendar's idea. Sargoth. The Judicator, and Judicator, comma, upholder of laws and tradition. Yep. Okay. Got that one. Should create a unique plane with arbitrary physics and aspects of reality. We could, but right now we're not doing that, John. That's what you want to do, and you kind of had to be here earlier for us to go on that journey. Do you know what I mean? So let's right now we'll answer those sorts of questions. This is possibly an opportunity to start thinking in terms of creation story, and then you can start building something from there. But right now I'm just taking down a list of the gods and goddesses, but hopefully you guys are working on a creation story. Soma. Okay. Spirit Wolf, you look like you've got here both. So I'm assuming that it's could be both. God / goddess of relationships and trade. Okay, I got that one. World as in the playing dimension or area. Okay. What do you got here, Matt? God of misfortune. Okay. And what is the name of the god or the deity that the Navari worshipped in Avatar on Pandora? What was the name of that god? Does anybody remember? I don't know. If you do, let me know. Next. Fortunus, god of misfortune. Did I get it right? No, I didn't. God of misfortune. If I ever get big enough and like super popular, I'll get somebody else to do all the typing for me. So I'm not trying to type all the stuff out as you go. Somebody who actually knows how to type. Charles has got Fince. Whoops. God of mornings. Okay. Mornings. Farmers. And spring rains. Huh. Rains. Okay. Got that one. Spirit Wolf, you got Pluto, minion of Candy God of knowledge and wisdom. Okay. Pluto. God of Candy. Candy, what? Candy, knowledge, and wisdom. Is that what we were trying to go for? I don't know what else to do with that. I just looked at it like, oh, okay, all right. So next, my god name's the teen for man of misfortune. Man of misfortune. What was yours, Matt? What did you put down? Oh, I see. Nice idea. I like the idea. Good job there. All right, Sammy 33D. Let's put your idea down. Who's Caldera. So this is goddess of resurrection. Of res. Well, it sounds like you can be resurrected in this world. Let's make sure I got the spelling right on this thing. Caldera. Okay, all right, so I got that right. How many? Ooh, we've got a few. I did slow you down. Creation stories are much harder, aren't they? They're much harder. If anybody if anybody wants to add what they've decided, what these two gods are going to be of, that I've got question marks beside you, let me know. Right now, I'm going to leave them, and we're going to move on to creation stories because there's a few here. It's quite a few here. Oh, there it is. There, that's what I wanted. That's what we still got the fill-in gap. Thank you, Charles. Goddess of protection. And I think we need to add in a line you've got here. Protector of warriors' children. I think I know where you're going with this. I think I got it, Charles. I think I got that figured out. Thank you. Shukaloka, the first goddess, gave birth to Mungo, the living rock. Okay. I'm a little lost. Okay, so we've got something going on here. Let's see if we can get these creation stories down, eh? Before I can get more lost than I already am. If we get 5 creation stories, I'm going to move you on to the next task. Otherwise, we'll run out of time, and I don't want to run out of time. So let me just quickly have a look to see if we have 5. There's 1. David's got a creation story. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5. Okay, so I'll type in this one, and then we will definitely move on to the next thing. Because that gives us 40 minutes to get the rest of it done. So, what am I writing? How am I writing this? I think the easiest way is for me to jump back and forth. That's the easiest way. Otherwise, it's going to take me way too long. So we'll go there, copy, go back to here, paste it. Where is the clear format? Italic. And we wanted this, that's that one. Okay, so let's go there. So, Shukaloka, the first goddess, gave birth to Mungo, the living rock. Okay, I got it. Spirit Wolf, it's in. I'm not sure what to do with the second statement that you made. It's harder. Oh, I see. Thank you. Here, Agile Monk, thank you for that. Braham, useful. Okay, all right. Okay, the God of Beyond. The Infinite. Okay, so actually I'll add that in. Because I kind of like that a lot. Whoops. Let's just add that in. So Awa, 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 Awa is the goddess. Awa. I think it is goddess, isn't it? Of the infinite. Infinite and beyond. I think that's what you were trying to say. If I got it wrong, you'll let me know. So we're going back to creation stories. David has got a creation story here. I can see it. So, did you write down giant snail? I have to put that in. No, I have to put that in. Giant snail. That is. Oh, come on. No, do not do this to me. Copy that. Whip on back here. Paste it. A little adjustment. Adjust our formatting. Oh, so for those of you who thought, oh, you're jumping in here and you're going to see like somebody in this stream who's leading it is going to do all the idea stuff. No, it doesn't work that way. The whole point is to get you to be doing that sort of thing. hence the idea of getting you to come up with ideas, because if you can do it in the stream, you can do it in real life in your own game. The great snail carries the world on top of its shell as it travels the grand puddle. I am okay, David. I don't know what else to say, but the idea and the image in my head, even though I don't know how it relates to creation story, who gives a shit? Let's keep it. Okay. I still really like it. let's do another one. If I can find my little mouse. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Nacho man, what have you got here? I apologize for those of you who are watching me as I jumping back and forth from one screen to another. I know it could be a bit yeah, but it's easy for me. Not for you, but definitely easier for me. Why did I not think of doing this before? Like, how stupid can you be, Fred? Like, this would have been the way to go from the very get-go. Okay, the world is a teleporting island that is actually a prison for something evil. The island is teleporting to help hide its location. That is very different. Let us keep that though. I am all for it. So that was Nacho Man. Spirit Wolf has got a an idea here. Let's grab that, and if I can find my list of, we're getting pretty close to getting all of our different creation stories. You guys are doing pretty well. I mean, coming up with a interesting and fun creation story is quite difficult, frankly. Hence why, if you use these documents the way they're supposed to be, you won't have any trouble coming up with ideas, because somebody else will have come up with ideas you can poach. The third battle for life brought forth the end of the second leader of Ungo. I'm going to go with capital Ungo. I don't even know what that means, but who cares? There's a battle involved, and there's a second leader of Ungo. So, Ungo, we have it. Right, next one. Ungo Walker. The world is a circle, but not really. Like, Matt, I think I understand where that comes from. I get the joke. Oh dear. Well, I'm glad that you guys are having a good time and a good laugh there. So this is going to be that one. The world is a circle, but not really a circle, more like a freaky circle. Okay, all right. All right, so let's get us back on track because I feel like so is Fendar going to be able to do this for us? Because I see Fendar's got a creation story. Oh my gosh! All right, let's mark that one down. Charles looks like he's got a good one there too as well. So that means we definitely got more than we needed. Okay, the world is sentient and changes its form dramatically every 1,000 years. Let's keep that. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but we'll do that. Let's get on to the next task. We're not going to do NPCs. The reason we're not doing NPCs is we have a whole session designated to creating NPCs. So that's where you would port over all the NPCs that we make during these Dungeon Master preparations into your world. Instead, what I should do is should I give you magic or should I give you monsters? I think if I give you monsters, it's going to get crazy. So we're going to go magic copy. Because we've probably got more than enough of the... Okay. Hashtag magic. Let's just get that ready to go. And then I'll go back and collect up these ideas that are still there. So magic. So hashtag... how does magic work? What sort of magic we're looking at? Question mark. One sentence. Please, people, keep it to one sentence. Can you communicate the idea in one sentence, please? There we go. All right. So while you are working on magic, people, that's your next task. Copy paste Google Docs instead of a Control V. You can use Control Shift V. Oh, okay. Good to know. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could do that. Absolutely. But also, too, it means that I don't have to look at my phone quite so much. I only have to worry about using the phone for other things, like typing in stuff. And my phone text is a lot smaller than the monitor text, so I'm just going to do that. So we'll go back and forth this way. I'm doing all right. It's getting done. Okay, Charles, let's take your idea. But thank you for the suggestion. It's probably what I should do. So what have we got here? The world was created to hold a great evil in its center, and the surface always fluctuates as evil tries to push out. But evil is held at bay as long as kindness in the world exceeds malice. Shizes. Wow. That's pretty cool. I liked it. It was good. It was very, very, very good. Let's go here. What genre? It's a normal two-dimensional circle. Then there'd be no vertical spaces. Question mark. Possibly. Oh, Ragnarok. Okay. Right. So we have magic. Here we go. Magic. David Ross has got our first. You can laugh all you like, but why not? I mean, seriously, why not have magic being a gift from a giant snail? I love it. I think it's great. Snails live in forests. I have essentially put a thumbnail that looks like a great huge forest in it, so why not? Like, it's the gift of the snail. Is it any stranger than magic is part of the weave? Like the tapestry. That's like Dungeons and Dragons stuff, right? Like, oh, magic is part of a weave, like, oh, a piece of cloth. That's essentially what we're talking about here. Could it be that? I mean, is that any stranger? Don't really think so. I don't really think so. Who is the great snail, though? Oh, David, we need to know who the great snail is. Who is the great snail? We need the name. We need a god name. Antenor. Antenor is the great snail. The great snail. Who excretes excretes am I doing this? Excretes magic from its snail trail. Oh dear. Okay. I mean, I think it's funny. Nobody else probably does, but it's funny. Antenor, the great snail who excretes magic from its snail trail. Okay. All right. Nobody who's really familiar with me will be around. Anybody who's new, I do apologize now. No, I don't. If you can't handle me doing this, you're probably not going to be able to handle being in these streams. It does happen from time to time. I do some odd things. Okay, it's not unusual at all. Dear. Okay, let's see what has Charles got here. Magic cannot be cast, performed by anyone who isn't under the influence of mind-altering substances. I'm not against the idea at all. I'm still recovering from the snail. Dear. Okay, get it together. Okay, wands can be used by anyone for first and second level. Okay, all right, that's interesting. Interesting. We will include that in there and amongst our list of magic, how magic works. This is going to prove to be now I need to, if I go too long, we need to make sure we get everything done. I don't want to miss any of the aspects of this that we're trying to work on. So if I cover magic for too long, you'll let me know. I'm just going to keep putting in your ideas. Okay, so I'm going to put in another one. Magic forms from the 4 elements. My idea. I'm going to add something today. Elements, earth, water, fire, and air. No, I forgot. That's 5 elements. The 5th element. Come on, get it together, Freddy. Why am I calling myself Freddy? I hate that. I'm literally calling myself something that I can't stand other people calling me. Spirit. We need to add the spirit. Okay. So the 5th element. Yeah, I just plucked it from somebody else's idea. Okay, I've stolen somebody else's idea. Okay, so what do you got here? Fender. This is interesting. Let's grab that. Put that in here. This will be our 5th idea, sort of. Well, do my ideas count? Not really. I don't think they should count. I think anything that I come up with actually doesn't count. It only counts if you come up with it. So let's put that in there. Spells only work if you do a rhyme with the name of the spell being cast. You really did think about that one. Okay, like let's one more and then we change the topic. Amazing. Don Roosevelt. Have I got it right? Roosevelt. Roosevelt. Don. Hello, Don. Welcome. First live stream caught. Well, You've joined at an interesting time. We are going a little nuts today. It has been interesting. Welcome, Don. John, right? Does the weave even exist in Fithi? I'm pretty sure Spelljammer does. Yeah, exactly. Magic is present in the world, but okay, Sammy 3D's got an idea here. Let's take that. I'm going to port that over, and I think that will designate that we need to move on to our next topic and cover something else, which is good because that means that we're doing pretty well, if you ask me. Magic is present in the world, but requires consumption of components for all spell casting. So you got to consume them. Oh no, consumption. I feel like you have to eat them. I think that's what you were aiming for. Correct? You'll let me know if I'm wrong. Okay, so we need to go on to another topic. Otherwise, it's going to never end. So let's technology. Now, technology is an interesting one, for sure. I want to get rid of that. I want to go here, and that is your next thing. Is what sort of technology does this world have? Does it have any technology? Are we going to give up on technology? Okay. Hashtag create technology. Or a type of energy use. Okay, let's see if you guys can work with that. Bronze Age. Hello, Carl. How are you? I spotted your name. Your snails jousting. Snails jousting? How do you get to snails jousting? So while you guys work on technology, I am going to collect up all of the spell stuff because there's quite a bit. Ooh. Did I miss something? I did. There we go. Here we go. Right, Don. David. Are we going down the path of the snail, hunting to lick the snail to cast magic? Oh my gosh. Yeah, could be. This is fantastical world building. If you hadn't figured out, we'd go nuts here. This is not tame Wizards of the Coast stuff. This is the audience driving what they believe is important. Charles, magic users get 1 month. Yeah, let's put that in. That is fun. I don't see that very often. Paste that. Oops. Bit much. Just go that a little bit more. And no, back up. Try not to mess it up. Get rid of the formatting. Bam. Okay, magic users get 1 month younger every time they cast any spell. Oh no. So children are treated with much caution if you haven't met them before. Charles. Okay. Sure. Okay, give it some pantheon like historical religions, easy to establish. Basically magical skin marks. Yeah, that's right. Every 5 levels of spell used in wisdom save from insanity or between. I don't understand, Spirit Wolf. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to build a mechanical thing in here, and I'm getting lost. So sorry. I've got to leave that one. What is... Oh, there's too much to deal with. You must consume snail trail essence to you. God almighty. Yeah, okay. We'll put that in. How did at least the end of the magic stuff is about to come? Like it will stop eventually, because we will move on to technology. Do you know what I mean? So, oh dear. Okay. You must consume snail trail essence to use magic beyond cantrips. That is sick. It's funny, but it's a bit on the sick side. Um, yes, well, okay. I feel like that has to go in here, but that maybe that goes under creation stories. The giant snail created it all. Creation stories. Okay, you've got to be careful what you type in here, people, because there's nothing. It's not like when you type stuff in here. I'm going to like, I think that's a terrible idea. I mean, sometimes I'm like, no, I won't do it. But quite often I will. And you know that I will. Some of you know fully well that I'm tempted. I can only imagine. No, 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 no. The spirals of the Milky Way. No, no, it's going to be the spirals of the slimy way. Draw draw the world in space by giant snails. Yes, that happened. Brenton Elwood. Elwood. Sorry, Elwood. I think it's Brenton, isn't it? Hello, welcome. Welcome to the chaos. This is okay. So back to where we were. Magic. I was dealing with magic before, and range of mind altering substance. Rare. No, Charles. Okay. Anything alcoholic? That? Yeah, that's fine. Line tranquil square. So bards would be the most. Yeah, could be. That's what ale? Snail ale. A thing with mucus harpoons. Oh dear. Snail ale. Okay. All right. So technology. Snail jousting. Really? Sure. I feel like this is an activity. It's not really a technology. Is snail jousting actually a thing we're putting in here? Apparently, snail jousting. How did we get this? How did we get this wacky? It's because I allow this, don't I? It's my fault ultimately in the end. Snail jousting. Jousting. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I'm assuming that was supposed to be around technology. Really? Maybe something. The slimy way. Okay, so let's okay. Oh, okay. Let's do that one. That looks fun. We have gone down the snail way. I feel like that is what has happened. For those of you who feel like the snail way is getting out of hand, do you feel free to do something other than that? Manual labour of those whom don't harness the power of the snail. Really? Ooh. I'm not entirely sure what that's all supposed to mean, but let's do that anyway. Okay. Power is drawn. My ideas drawn from running water into engines that power everything, like that. Does anyone remember John Carter from Mars, like a lot of the technology was around sunlight because there was a lot of sun. So I'm thinking water, sun, foresty. I mean, that's where my head is going at. So right now, so let's go with what do you call it? Come on, get it together. Solar powered, solar powered. Come on, did I manage to make a mistake here? Powered panels that store energy for what? For running lights, that fell flat. Let's move on to your ideas, people, since my ideas didn't go very far. Technology. We're going to run out of time, so I am just having a quick look here. There are a couple of things here that are good. I like it. It's good. We're doing nicely. So we need some monsters. There's no way we can leave this stream without talking about monsters. If we don't do that, it just doesn't work. I mean, we can get away with not talking about governments. Like, okay, there's no governments, which is fine with me. I feel like this world, maybe the world that we're building today, is just not a world with governments. Like, it doesn't work. But we have to have monsters. Like, we can't not have monsters. Hashtag. Create or add some monsters to the world. We have to have that, people. So monsters it is. Let's go. And I feel like the first monster I'm going to add is the giant snail. The dire giant snail. The dire giant snail. That's my first monster, people. You can do the rest. Giant leeches. Yes, leeches. Don't like leeches. let's add them. Giant leeches. That's that one done. We'll go back to the you guys are going to go absolutely nuthouse. Look, feel free to go bat nut crazy with the monsters. I let you. I give you permission. Make it happen, people. Now, did I even figure out where I'm hardly even caught up with you with regard to technology. Technology is going to be one of those hard areas for me. Okay, let's go here. Oh, this is fun. This is pretty cool. I like it. Giant spelljammer snail on some lake in the Ploddiston with some evil vault on it with an insane density or a warp plane of reality. Good Lord. Are we serious? Not every single monster can be a snail. Right now, you can't just add snails to everything. Okay, we've got snails already, which is why I put it in the first place. Dire giant snail. Okay, that's it. You got it. Ancient space snails. No more snails. Different monsters. Everybody's doing snails now. Oh my God. All right. Homeless. Yeah, I can see that. I lost control of the stream at this point. I may have lost control of it much sooner than that. We are allowed to use monsters from the monster manual. You are allowed to have, look, the monster manual does exist. You're allowed to use the monster manual to put monsters that you feel would work in there. Giant garden gnomes. Oh my gosh. Does it have to be a giant garden gnome? Well, of course it is, because Nacho said it was going to be a giant garden gnome. So now it's a giant garden gnome. Ooh, okay. Matt. Jean's idea was very nice. I will take Matt's idea. What do you got here, Matt? This is... Got to get rid of the formatting on this. Salt Elemental. Sammy 3D. Nice. I like that. That's pretty cool. Everybody's doing snails. Oh, God. I was not really expecting us to go down the snail trail. Civilization survived by building and trading in giant harpoons termed snail killers. Okay, all right. Yes, you broke me. Of course you broke me. I mean, how else am I supposed to deal with this? Stone children, wizards, which okay. I feel like that might be magic that we're dealing with there. Is that magic? That's magic. Yeah, that's going in the magic section, I'm pretty sure. That is definitely a magic thing. That is stone children, wizards worship, which worship a giant snail slime. Of course they do. Of course they do. Oh, electrified caterpillars. I love that. That's a good idea. But we're still stuck on gnomes, people. You're still stuck on gnomes. You can include technology. Charles has got some actual technology here. Look at this. He's gone into great detail. I'll read it out in a second. Let me just put it in here. Look at that. That's what we wanted. Let's my ideas just proved to be the most boring shit under the sun. Oh God. It is hard to keep your head straight in the middle of a live stream while you're trying to keep up with everybody's stuff. There's a complex mechanical system of aerial lifts to move bucket loads of household poo to farmlands. Yeah. Maintenance of the system is very important and highly respected. We're leaving that. What a sensible idea. Centipedes, okay. Fire trees that explode with exploding nuts. That's pretty good. I mean, it's funny, but it's pretty good. Oh no, I completely. Someone's going to use it. There's puns everywhere. Steam engines. Steam engines. Do we have steam engines? I don't know. I can't remember if we had steam engines. Technology. Did we have steam engines? Oh, I so hard. I'm finding it so hard right now. It's. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, all right. Steam engines, deadly cabbages. Oh my gosh, really? Deadly cabbages? The world is definitely foresty and veggie like. Where are the veggie creatures, mate? People, if this is where we were going, where are the veggie creatures? Tell me now. Somebody's going to say veggie pygmies. Frankly, actually, I'm just going to add in veggie pygmies right now. Like, if you haven't put veggie pygmies in there, I haven't added to your list of monsters. It's just because I'm having trouble. Okay. Veggie pygmies. Pygmies. Veggie pygmies. Is that veggie pygmies? Veggie pygmies. Okay, I've added veggie pygmies. Okay. Deep breath, deep breath, deep breath. Okay, keep going. Fire squirrel. Flying fire squirrels. Flying. That's what's going to happen. Is semi 3Ds. They're going to have flying fire squirrels. Assassin vines. Absolutely. Okay, now we'll get some standard stuff coming in now. Okay, slug based tech, including. Okay, yeah, that's semi 3D. Okay, all right. Okay, I should go, and it's pretty clear, I think, at this point that you guys don't have any trouble coming up with ideas for your world, and frankly, why I do this in the first place is just for a good laugh. I think at this point, Bunnings. No. Slug based tech includes collecting snail essence via the snail trawl system. Sheesh. Okay. I've got to wrap this up. I know I've got to wrap this up, so I'm going to wrap it up, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to hold it together. I mean, I've already haven't. I've lost it. It's done. You broke me for sure. I agree. It's happened. I can't hold it in. If people want to add in monsters that are scary and terrifying, then by all means do so. But right now, apparently, there aren't a lot of scary dive bombing flying fire squirrels. Okay, all right. Deep breath, drink of water. Let's get us out of here. I think you guys have got this nailed down. You're not going to need any assistance from me whatsoever. We've done very well. So I just want to thank everybody who has been supporting me on Patreon, so I can do this every week. I want to say thank you to everybody who's been part of the live streams and joining in with the chat and making me and everybody else laugh a lot. You have been hilarious. I don't know that I could have done that alone. In fact, I think it would have been impossible. And the snail jokes have just not been ending, and probably will never end at this present point. But we do need to end. So thank you for watching my live streams. Thank you for watching the replays of the live streams and the edited videos. And wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the afternoon, or the night, or the wee snail trail morning, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. Oh boy.